Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
If you haven't been watching Serie A, if you haven't even been keeping up with Serie A, this is, in my opinion, probably the best league right now. It has been tight, drama. The first place position changes feels like every week. There's a new first place team. It is, as someone that I'm not gonna say that I'm a fan of any of the clubs in Serie A. I try to just be a fan generally of the league here, but it does bring me back to the good old days of the Serie A where it literally was them killing each other. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it that way because that was gonna be my joke. Is hey, look, it's Milan on top, and I'm just gonna let somebody pick which Milan it is. Because that's how it feels right now. This feels like the inner AC back and forth we used to have pre-match fixing. For all those who are old enough to remember those days where you had Roma, you had Napoli, you have Juventus, you have Bologna. Back in the day, it was Fiorentina was up there. It's always fun to watch this league when things are rolling for the league. It's always fun to see what can happen. People forget that a lot of great players start their football in the Italian league in the Serie A. So you get a lot of mix of young players, people in their prime, and some older players just kind of being the team leader. And you get them, and it's all different nations, and it's always been this way. I mean, you think of the greatest Americans in history, Alexi Lawless being one of them. He played in the Italian league, so it's usually for Americans, it's a league we should have watched at some point in time if we've ever watched European football before, Goal TV became a thing.
Can't forget about Michael Bradley.
Yeah.
His one season with Roma before going to Toronto, and now is the manager for Red Bull New York.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, I love when Serie A is like this. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I think the Serie A has gone through such a dark age. Like when it was just like, oh, here goes Juventus wins it again. Like I mean, it really was that point where almost as bad as the Bundesliga, and now I think they're back in their rightful place. I think as the third best league in my opinion when it comes to the European leagues. It could be argued maybe someone says Bundesliga, but I mean the way that this league's been playing now, I think we can definitely argue that the Bundesliga is definitely the third best league. I'm biased, I know, La Liga, but
I'll never put La Liga up there just for obvious reasons of like I don't like leagues that only have 4 teams.
That's fair.
But
the Bundesliga has
I need more.
one team.
Exactly. I put La Liga and the Bundesliga at the same spot at comfortably at 2 or 3. I guess is a good place. I think Serie A has a very good argument for being the number 1 league. I think depth wise, you do have to have that conversation about the Premier League, but up until the top 8 are really marked off. They're pretty even. If not the top teams in the Serie A being better than top teams in the Premier League. So, yeah, it's interesting to see. Obviously, don't go by the Champions League standings. Don't blast me for that. But
I will say that this one is probably more not last place, but everybody else. I think that who knows how this table is going to finish by the end of the season because. In some weird way, because they've literally been beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
For all we know, Juventus could still find their way winning this league. Just the way how crazy this season has been going. But we'll start at the bottom and then we'll work our way to the top. In the relegation zone, here, obviously, it's in the rest of the leagues now, because you guys just listen to the league on, you listen to Bundesliga. There's no play in here. It is literally 20th to 18th place gets relegated immediately down to the second division. And yeah. And like I said,
in Serie B.
But it is still the European competition spots are still the same. 6th place is the Europa Conference League. 5th place is the Europa League. 4th all the way to 1st will get those Champions League spots unless the UEFA coefficient favors the Serie A this season. If that does happen, then they would get the additional spot. But as I'm going through the recording, I'm going in with the assumption that it's going to be the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that that's a crazy assumption to have. I'm sure there's a lot of Prem fans that wouldn't disagree that, yeah, that's fair. But I'm sure there's somebody. I can never please everybody. But in the 20th position is Fiorentina with 6 points. Fiorentina, I'm just so disappointed. As great as they were getting better and better each season, I don't know what happened this time around, but they haven't gotten a win. Not one victory, 6 draws, 9 losses, 12 goals scored, 26 goals allowed with a negative 14 goal differential, which is right now the worst in the league. They're just not performing.
Yeah. That's it. The nicest thing you've ever said about a team that has 0 wins. just want you to know that. They have cool jerseys, though, at least.
At least you're not Wolves. There you go. There you go. At least you're not Wolves. Wolves has 2 points right now. So.
Yeah, no, this team is just not good, honestly. They're a team that's playing within a Dzeko that is old, and honestly, he's not the Eden Dzeko we once remember. They're playing with Albert Goodmanson, who is, again, not the Albert Goodmanson who was a World Cup darling or Euro darling a few years ago. It's a very old team who's not in a lot of great positions for going forward. You hope the best that they can fight their way out of this, but man, no wins through half a season is not great, especially this is one of those leagues that doesn't give you a Christmas break. So it's not like you get a break to regain yourself. You're just going straight through.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll be that's a tough break for them. And I literally was just talking about how the great old times had Fiorentina in the top 6.
Yeah.
Sorry. Now you got 6 points.
It's not the same, but you're different. But yeah, I get it. 19th place, you have Pisa with 10 points, which I believe they just got promoted this season. So it happens. 18th place, Hellas Verona with 12 points, which is a team that has been having a lot of struggles over the years. They did just have a new owner. It was these owners from Austin, Texas, of all places. So Hellas Verona also have been dealing with their struggles. Now, I did mention that this league is very much still in play because it still is. I think when you look at positions like 19 to 13, all within grasp of each other.
Yeah.
But I will highlight one team that I would say don't be surprised if they have a big slip up and we see them maybe not in the relegation zone, but definitely not in their current position, which is in 10th place, Udinese with 21 points. And the reason why I'm highlighting them is, yes, 6 wins, 3 draws, 6 losses, 16 goals scored, 22 goals allowed, a negative 5 goal differential. Have games gone in their favor? Probably, but if you're giving up goals like that, they're also the thing that's like, the old Sesame Street, one of these kids are not like the others. When you look at everything on the upper half of the table, they're the only team with a negative goal differential.
Yeah.
So that's to me the team that I wouldn't be surprised if they slip up.
They're the team that can beat up on the little kids, but when it comes to playing the big dogs, good luck. I mean, it's pretty much 3-0, 3 goals against Milan, 3 goals against Inter, 3 goals against Sassuolo. Udinese and Cagliari tied. They drew with Cremenese, who's below them. Juventus scores 3 on them. Roma scores 2 on them. Like, that's a team for sure that is made for a slip up without a doubt. And it's not like, you can't be fixed, but usually if defensive woes are your problem through half of the season, it's going to continue for the second half of the season, and your offense better get really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they are the team that slips up for sure. But I think you're right. I think there's a very great possibility they're going to be maybe not in the relegation zone, but they're going to be awfully close.
And then on that and then I'll mention 9th to 5th, I see as they're still in play. And now the team that I'm going to highlight that isn't in that realm, maybe there's some bias, maybe, but 12th place Atalanta. 12th place Atalanta right now defensively needs work. but they have scored 19 goals so far this season, which is which, by the way, fire the manager they had at the time. Just another early firing. They bring in I forgot his name, but he previously managed Fiorentina, which was a really good year for Fiorentina, which I believe that's the one that they made it to the final of one of the Europa Conference Leagues, I believe, which I think that's the Real Betis one.
I believe so.
Yeah. So, yeah, the semifinal, Real Betis. Yeah, they played against Real Betis in the semifinal because Real Betis got shellacked by Chelsea last year. So he comes in, takes over with Atalanta, and I think that you're starting to see the improvement for them in that part because it's been really rough for Atalanta, especially a team that honestly their biggest loss was losing Gasperini.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest loss for them was losing Gasperini, which is Roma's gain because of where they are right now on the table. But I think Gasperini. Or did I say Rene? Gasperini. Yeah, that's what I was.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but Atalanta, I think, is a team that I think they're gonna improve. I think maybe they go after some players more so on the defensive side to help them push through because I think they have a lot of good players on that team, a lot of Serie A proven players that I just don't see this team not slipping. Now I'm not saying they're going to get into the Champions League, but I'm saying I think they're going to get better.
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely see them fighting for like a top 10 finish. Doesn't seem like it's too far off. I'd say them and, for me, Cremenese are the two teams because if you look at the Cremenese squad, Jamie Vardy, of all people, is sitting there. Also, I thought it was really cool going through it. The goalkeeper is Indonesian, which you don't often see Indonesian national players anywhere in pro football, especially at top levels for teams that are not, fighting relegation. So very interesting to see. But when you talk about head-to-head situations, they've drawn with Atalanta, Cremonese, and Atalanta drew 1-1. And when you talk about going up against the big dogs, like Como, they drew with Como. They drew with Cremonese, who's just ahead of them. They beat Genoa, who's way below them. Unfortunately, they did lose to Pisa recently, so that's always tough. But, they're showing fight. They beat Bologna. Like it's a team that shows fight and can win some games that they shouldn't win. So for me, I think Atalanta is a great call out. I think Cremonese also has a great shot of climbing those ranks, getting inside top 8 potentially. Again, not fighting for anything meaningful potentially, but anybody can slip, so you never know. But I think those two teams for sure have a great shout for climbing further up the table.
Yeah, those are some good, especially with Cremonese because they have 18 goals given up. So
yeah.
Also, come that January transfer window, find some improvements to that team, and we'll see what happens, man. I shit a lot. Sorry for Kelcey. I always shit on. It's always great when Kelcey's on here to do this bit, but MLS. I do complain about the January transfer window because obviously it's just harder to bring guys into a new season when they're in the middle of their season. But it's different in Europe because of the fact that that's why you have the January transfer window. It is to go in and a simple reload. Sometimes, you think you got it all right. Maybe you're just missing that one piece. Yes, are they going to be more expensive? Yeah, because obviously you're trying to take a player away from a team that's in their middle of their season. So It makes a lot of sense. But that's when you know that and January is never usually a crazy busy transfer window. But when they do get those January transfer window signings, it is there because they are brought in for a reason. Do they always pan out? Absolutely not. But there, especially with the Serie A, I think anything much is possible. But going into that, in that 6th place spot for the Europa Conference League, we have in 6th place Bologna with 25 points. I hope I pronounced that right.
We'll give you that one.
Look at me. In 5th place, we got Juventus with 26 points in 5th place. Now, the Champions League spots, 4th place, AS Roma with 30 points. Pay attention to the point count, by the way, guys. 3rd place, Napoli with 31 points. 2nd place, AC Milan with 32 points. And in first place, Inter Milan with 33 points. It's anybody's game. It's anybody's game this is the Royal Rumble. Is basically what the Serie A is.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I mean, I jokingly said pick Milan, but it really has been the last couple of weeks where, especially if one plays Saturday, one plays Sunday, it's like good luck. One's going to win one day, the next is going to win the next day.
See, and if be grateful that I'm not recording this on Saturday. I waited till freaking Tuesday to do the recording.
If Milan doesn't stumble in their last match and draw, they're on top of the table by a point. That's the difference here. We're not talking about anything, but like one stumble is going to be the difference. We just talked about when we talked earlier about the Bundesliga, or when we discussed that one season that Bayern Munich had that they got beat by perfection, right? This is the season where you can't be anything less than perfect if you're a top 3, top 4 squad, because there are 3 points between every single Champions League spot. Obviously, we're going to ignore the coefficient for a minute. There are 3 points between 4th and 1st. And any stumble one week could cost you. If Napoli doesn't stumble, they're at 34 points. It's that close where anybody can take this.
Those return legs become crazy. So important now. It's game changers now. Like this. Honestly, I wish every league was like this. Like I wish that it was this. Like it's not crazy spreads. Like I have all my notes here of all the leagues, and PSG has a 7-point lead right now on. No, they have actually that. Never mind. Don't look at at Liga 1. Actually, that's a lot closer than I thought. I should have remembered that. But like Bundesliga, 9 points, 9 points clear. La Liga, Barcelona is that's 5 points. Actually, that's 4 points. Never mind. Don't look at that either. Okay, I guess this year is actually pretty close. Never mind.
It's okay.
Besides the Bundesliga, I was trying to go on a rant, and apparently I failed. See that, and it happens. But this is, and weirdly enough, I guess everybody is really right now tight, and it is because it is still in play in the second. We're still in the first half of the season, but yeah, I think this is like really enjoyable. Where honestly, like even Bologna has a shot.
Yeah,
like shoot, even
you can say Como has a shot.
Como's still in play. Like these teams are still very much in the mix for the Scudetto, and I think that is awesome. That is still that tight knit. That any of these teams could ruin any of their seasons, and so that just makes it more fun to me. Now the team I'm going to highlight is Roma, because I think Roma, they've been trying to figure out what it needs to be done to get this club back on top of the Serie A. You had the Jose Mourinho experiment that almost looked like it was going to work out. But obviously, people got tired of Jose Mourinho before any progress could really happen. Then you bring in, who was it? Del Piero? Was it Del Piero that was?
I think, Alessandro Del Piero. I think, he was the next manager.
Yeah, you either it was that or Todi. I don't remember. But you had a club legend come in and coach. Looked great, but obviously it's not as consistent. Obviously, because I don't think he had much coaching experience prior going into that Roma job. And you're still trying to figure things out. You're being active in the transfer market. You're going after guys. Obviously, you get a Paulo Dybala.
It was Daniele De Rossi.
De Rossi, my bad.
The American. I said it.
I guess he is technically Italian. He's Italian American or something like that.
Yeah. Born in America, born to American parents in Italy.
So, kind of. All right, but yeah, and they went after it, right? They went after the best person in Serie A, in my opinion, Gasperini. Which I'm forever gonna love him. You know what? I'm gonna find that picture of him shushing Xabi Alonso, by the way, and I'm just gonna frame it. Like whenever I have my own personal office, like everyone's gonna be like, "What's the picture of the old guy?" Like you just had to be there. You just had to be there for that. But I think he's the perfect person for this Roma project. They have a lot of good players. I think that for Roma, honestly, I don't even know. Well, actually, no, I do know what Roma needs. They need to score some goals. That's what they need to be doing. Because they're actually the best defensive team in Serie A.
It's not close.
8 goals allowed. 8 goals allowed, and you've only been able to score 16 goals. That needs to be fixed. Like, I mean, they need to add some more firepower. I don't know who you look into. There's like options, but you need to bring. I don't want to say Sorloth because that would just be cheap for me to mention him again. But you need to go. You need to find a 9. I'm really kind of like trying to think right now of a potential 9 that would be available. Go get Zeko.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that could work. Go get Jamie Vardy. See if you can bring him up from Cremenese.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
No, I think this Roma team is very interesting. Right? It's not often you see us.
Go get Burkhardt.
Yeah, there you go, Jonathan Burkhardt. Yeah. Hey, we've seen German players move to the Bundesliga and move to Serie A, and they do well. So it wouldn't be surprising. Yeah, it is weird to always see a team where it's like, perfect defense, nearly perfect defense to the first half. Eight goals given up is crazy. But to only score 16, that's it's not a great look. It's not a great look for a top team. Obviously, there's whatever reasons you want to say. Maybe El Shaarawy is 33 years old and he's past his prime, so be it. Whatever. You still have Leon Bailey, who's really not performing either. But yeah, Roma just needs to figure it out. They need somebody to link it all together. It feels like more than anything. They have the talent. They just need somebody to link it together. Or just go get you a Sorloth-esque number 9. And I'll be the one that says Sorloth if you won't be. So, but yeah, Roma's a very interesting character. You always see them floating around the top 4. Like I said, this is like the olden days where Roma's there fighting. They're giving everything they got. But will it be enough? I don't know.
I'm pulling for the fans. I love their fans. Even the guy
one of the best stadiums too to watch in Serie A.
Great atmosphere. I think even that awkward fan that forced Jose Mourinho to witness their proposal. Like, I mean, like, all those things about Rome. There's just a passion there that it's
for a big city. It's unheard of.
That's where I was gonna go with it. For as massive as Rome is, like, yeah, like, I mean, yes, I know the Milans and all that, but I mean, like, for Roma's like, I mean, gladiators and all of that you can think of. This is kind of where you want to go, and I mean, also I would love to see Paul Dybala do it and just, like, just a massive fuck you, sorry for cussing Kelcey, to like Juventus, like that's just me, but yeah. Like it's really interesting what they're doing. I think Gasperini is the right guy. They need to just add some more power to that attack because this team should be contending for the Scudetto. This team should be lifting the Scudetto by the end of the season.
I don't know about lifting it because those top 2 teams are good luck getting past the Milans. I do think they can get past Napoli, but the Milans right now seem to be truly well and above everybody else.
Fair enough. I mean, Lataro Martinez, just great as he always is for Inter Milan. Christian Pulisic looking like he should probably be the best player in Serie A.
It should have a shout at it for sure. I will not say those words again after the last time I said those words of, even though I was sarcastic about it. But no, I think Christian it's impressive to see what he does and to honestly see what he's been able to do, even splitting time, because he's not always starting. Comes off the bench, scores 2 goals in 3 minutes of game time. How many players do you know that can do that anywhere? And it's not like they're wonder goals every time. They're efficient, being in the right place and right time. And that's just like, if you've ever played FIFA, and I hate bringing up FIFA every time I do this, but there's an attack position category of stats. If you look at attack position, that's what attack position would mean, is being in the right place at the right time for tap-ins. Some people call them poachers, whatever, but it's not like one of those type of goals. He's very much just popping in when the trash is all bouncing around, and there he is. It's a goal. He does have some wonder goals though to go with it. It's just
I think for a U.S. men's national team fan standpoint, look, all the drama that came in with Christian Pulisic throughout the summer, everything that he was like circulated with the god awful docuseries that I don't know if it's still going, and I hope it's not. All those things that he just kept drawing all this attention to, and I kept saying it like, am I going to be critical of Christian Pulisic? Of course I am. Who isn't? But like, the reality is, the reality is at the end of the day, Christian Pulisic, all he needed to do, and this isn't me saying shut up and dribble, is just let the ball do the talking for him. Remind people that, hey, I'm Christian Pulisic. I am the USA Wonder Kid until somebody can dethrone me. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. But like, I mean, he's going to surpass Landon Donovan. He's going to surpass Clint Dempsey. Like, to say that he's overrated might be a right word for some people to call him that, because I think that we do overhype him to a terrible extent. So I get the term overrated for him. But I mean, what he's doing for AC Milan, he's an important player for AC Milan. I believe he's leading Serie A and GA in goals and assists. I could be wrong on that, but I think at some point he was
sounds about right.
At some point he was definitely he's definitely in the top in GA, and I think that like I said, if you're Christian Pulisic, you wanted to rest. You didn't want to compete in Gold Cup because you wanted to rest, and and we all said to him, hey, if you're gonna request this, you better ball out this season to make fans be excited come 2026 that Captain America or the LeBron James of soccer, that's never gonna pass for him. But like, for him to show that, hey, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm ready to lead this U.S. men's national team. God forbid he does get that captain star bid. But I think Christian Pulisic is playing great. But at the same time, on the flip side, right across the offices, Inter Milan also looking very strong as well. Like I said, Lataro Martinez. I mean, the guy is just the Serie A. Like, in my opinion, he's always going to be one of the leading forces of the Serie A. He's going to be one of the faces of Serie A till something proves me differently. I mean, Federico Di Marco is currently the leading assist guy. So,
well, Nico Paz now has 4 as well. So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, look, he's tied with Nico Paz and Federico are tied with 5 apiece. But yeah, Inter's been impressive. It's not just Martinez though. You got to talk about Orsolini. Not Orsolini. He's with Bologna. With Colangelo. Those two guys, along with what you see with DeMarco, Nico Barella, by the way, has 4 assists. So 3rd on the assists category there, tied with like 7 other guys there. They're impressive. And by the way, Lataro is actually leading in what I could find in GA. So he has 11 total goal contributions. Christian has 9. So probably somebody is ahead of me that I didn't account for. Whatever. But yeah, I look at that as like Inter's doing something impressive, but AC is also there with, Leao. Pulisic is playing out of his mind. Overall, both teams are just, they're not giving up. And that's the Milans we want to see. We don't want to see the Milans that continue to be, oh, I have this fancy jersey, but I'm not going to do anything useful in the San Siro. Like, I loved the San Siro being the mecca of soccer twice a year. No different than you would get the Bernabeu, or you'd get Camp Nou, or you'd get Anfield, or you'd get, Old Trafford. Like, take your pick. Any great stadium has a great rivalry, and there's no greater in my eyes than 2 teams that share the same stadium that are so passionately hateful towards each other.
Also, one greatest images of all time is still that picture from one of the Milan derbies. I forgot who it was, but I think it was like 2 icons of AC Milan and Inter that were just like standing next to each other and just seeing like the smoke and all that one of the best images.
One of the first soccer matches I ever watched was a Milan derby. And it was amazing. Honestly, it was 2004, 2005, something like that, which doesn't feel like that long ago, but I guess it's been 20 years. And it was just so amazing to watch it on TV that you're just like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that scene. I want to experience that one day. And the San Siro has always been a special place in my eyes, and especially when the teams are great, like you're seeing this year, when you have players at the top of the Golden Boot race, you have players at the top of the assist race. You probably have players at the top of the clean sheet race. They're fighting for not just Serie A, but they're also fighting for Champions League positioning. It is always the most impressive thing to watch when both Milans are great. And then you got Juve sitting there just outside, sneaking their way in. Roma, they brought themselves back, Serie A did, and it's good to see the Milans leading the way for sure.
Yeah, and the image I was referring to is the picture of Materazzi with Rui Costa.
Oh yeah.
So that's the image I was referring to. But we gotta mention the January transfer window again because I think it's gonna be very important. We mentioned some teams that could definitely use some additions to that team. But maybe what's the team that you're thinking of as far as needs to do something in January?
Oh, Como. I think Como has to be the team that if you look at the top 7, they're the team that needs to get the most out of it. Yeah, you have Nico Paz, who's playing out of his mind right now, who I think is the top. He's got 10 goal contributions. So he's just behind Martinez. But then you also still have Jesus over there. And
also, you should probably remember, Real Madrid is rumored to do their buyback clause to get Nico Paz back.
Yeah. And it's tough, right? If they do that, then you lose your number 1 assist getter and you lose your number 1 goal scorer if you're Como. But you also have Jesus Rodriguez on the team that has been balancing it out. Maximo Perrone. There are players on this Como squad led by Fabregas that can do some exceptional things. And I think it's a situation where you just need to bring somebody else in. You need to get something else, barring Real doing what Real does. But, we'll see. But to me, I look at Como as the team. They need to figure out something because the teams ahead of you are going to logjam. They're going to beat themselves up. If you can just stay steady and continue to win the games you're supposed to win and maybe sneak out a couple of these games against Milan's, against Roma, you have a great shot of climbing yourself into a Champions League spot anywhere in the Champions League, whether it be Europa or it be Conference League either.
Yeah, I think I won't look at a team, but I will say a player that all these teams, especially the teams that need defensive assistance, you need to call Sergio Ramos. The man wants to go back to Europe. He wants to solidify his chances of making the Spanish national team come the World Cup, which at first I thought was a kind of a bit of reach, but then when I looked at the center back options, I mean maybe he's not that wrong. But yeah, because if you're a team that needs defensive help, go get Sergio Ramos. I know, and I think he's perfect for Serie A in the current stage that he's at in his career. Not taking a jab at Serie A by any means. I can't see him playing in the Premier League. I think La Liga he could still perform in. Bundesliga definitely, Liga 1 definitely, but I think if he wants his best chance. Not saying that Serie A is bad, but I think if he wants his best chance to show how good of a defender he's going to be for Spain, he has to show it in the Serie A. I think obviously what the identity of Serie A has always been defense. How good they are in defensibility, technical ability. And so if you're Sergio Ramos, I think you need to come to a Serie A side and help boost some team, whether it's to get them into a European spot or maybe help them win the Scudetto.
Yeah, I like the call for Sergio. I'd say there's a couple of the defenders that maybe you can get that are already in Europe and you don't have to worry about that age conversation. You talk about Inacio over at Sporting CP, Portuguese defender. Liverpool's linked with him right now. They don't do great every time in the transfer window, let me tell you. They do pretty good in January, but honestly, you could sneak some of these guys. You have a chance with Murillo. You have a chance with even Konate coming from Liverpool because he's up for a contract renewal at the end of the season. And then you have the guy sitting over there at Barcelona in Ronald Araujo. Can he make a transition to the Bundesliga or to the Serie A? I think those are guys that you look at like you don't need to go get Sergio Ramos. You could get cheaper with Sergio Ramos, but you could also get higher upside with one of these other guys for longer periods. And as much as I'd like to see Sergio back in the Spanish uniform come next July, I would rather see some of these squads in Serie A take a shot at some of these defenders that they're out of contract at the end of 26, at the end of the season, because there's a lot of center backs out there, a lot of guys that could make that move, and it's something that it'll be interesting to watch for sure. Somebody's making a move, and it's going to be game changing for better or worse, for sure.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, Sergio Ramos is going to be free, so there's that.
You got to pay those wages, man. Those weekly wages are no joke for somebody like that.
No, yeah, I definitely get that part.
$450,000 a month, something like that. Crazy.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong for that. You're not wrong to say that. But
I don't know about you, but I can't afford that.
I can't even afford a wish.
Couldn't even afford 1% of that.
But that is Serie A. Is there anything you want to add on to Serie A before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think this is a division, or this is a league that you look at as, like you said, arguably top 1, top 3, somewhere in that range. Depends on where you pull them at. It's going to come down to Serie A beating themselves up versus, like, what do they end up weighing enough when it comes to Champions League, right? Do you weigh the Scudetto as more than the Champions League trophy? Because you get a lot more money from the Champions League trophy, but you don't get as much prestige within Italy. And we all know Italian leagues, they love their prestige. So I think we're going to see that as the defining factor when they look at these top 4 teams, still fighting for Champions League spots. What do they actually weigh as their priority? That's going to determine how far they can actually fight in the Champions League versus how far they fight for the Scudetto. So that's my 2 cents on that.
It's funny. We talk, I mentioned Atalanta, but they are killing it right now in the Champions League. They're currently in 5th place. 6th place is Inter right behind them. Yeah, that's it. Juve's there. That's all I can say.
They exist. They're going to make it to the next round.
Napoli, I think Napoli's playing the PSG route. They're like, we'll sit there at 23rd.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not a bad place to be. If you because you don't have to play every league game or like the table games like it's their end all be all like they were in the group stages. You can strategically take them off. You can play your reserves. It's not a bad situation to be in when you're coming down to decision day for the Champions League table and you can sneak your way into the top, 24 teams?
Who is that guy?